And these questions really always make me laugh a little bit because when I was a kid, my dream was actually to be a secretary. I had like a plastic phone, and I was pretending to take appointments for my friends. So now for sure I was not uh, thinking of becoming a scientist. I have to say that my approach to science came a lot later. After finishing my high school, I had a chance to do vacation study in the United States. I'm originally from Italy. And then there I took some science class and I just fell in love. And when I came home, I just enrolled in a university and I started studying molecular biology and development biology. So that was when my approach to science started. I love my job, so you will must find me in my office continually analyzing data and doing some work. But I have to say that when I really need some rest from computer and working, I am in my backyard trying to develop a green thumb, getting along with my flowers and my veggies. I love to hike and walk with my dog. I also have to say that lately I'm very involved during my free time, volunteering in a community for living kidney donors because I am a living kidney donors and I'm writing a book together with some of my friends that donated a kidney too, and we really are happy to share this incredible experience and bringing awareness about living donor donation. Most of the time, people are really focused on the transplant person because, of course, it's a sick person who need a kidney, but donors has amazing story too. And when I talk with donors, each one of us has their own personal story. We wanted to share and we wanted to talk with other people and helping each other is like a little bit up like the Alport community, where everyone helps, the donors do the same. So we are together on that too, which is good. So after my university study, I was awarded of a small fellowship, 3 months to spend at Harvard in Boston in a very neat laboratory at the time that was doing stem cells and regenerative medicine. I took the opportunity and 3 months became 6 and then became a year and I did all my PhD in this laboratory and that were the years where stem cells and regenerative medicines were really hot. So I was probably in the moment at the right place at the right moment in doing that research. And then my approach to kidney was when my actual chief, Dr. De Filippo, that I met in Boston, asked me to join his lab at Children's Hospital Los Angeles and work on stem cells and kidney regeneration. And so there is where I always had a passion for kidney compared to the other organs. So there is when I started doing my first research on the kidney. And then my approach to Alport was just a casualty. Just right when I arrived to Children's Hospital Los Angeles, I was introduced to a mom that had chronic kidney disease, and she explained to me that she had Alport, and she was very worried about the future of their children. And then I met other mom that that I was going to the nephrology division, and I was seeing these little kids suffering from chronic kidney disease, and there were a couple of mom, that had Alport syndrome. So I was like, oh, I think that I was touched by this personal contact with this mom, and so since I had to pick a model at that time, I actually started studying Alports. And over the years, I really got very passionate about this disease because it's also scientifically challenging. And so it became the major project of my laboratory. This mother had something in the eyes that was really, it caught my attention, and she was she wanted to talk to me because I was doing kidney research, and I couldn't, at that time, I was very young, and I couldn't give her an answer and sort of calm down her emotions. And I was like, well, I have to pick a model for my for my mice to study, because I was still in a very early stages. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I think that it's very important to understand that the Alport syndrome is a complex chronic kidney disease. But I speak about myself, but also I'm sure I'm speaking for all the scientists that are doing research in this space, that find a cure for Alport is our life missions, I would say. And it's there is something very particular about the Alport community. I'm involved in other kidney communities, but Alport is a special. Not only from the patient's perspective, but I have to say all my colleagues are, incredible. We communicate, we exchange emails, we write grant together, we share data. They're always available to help me with any questions and provide me with any tools that I need to. And all of this with a great respect. So I think that this is an incredible community. I also think that over the years, I've been involved in this research since like probably 10, 11 years right now. I see, a big development, especially when it comes to medical care for our patients with their genetic testing. And I also see a lot of progression in research. We are far from, find a definitive cure, but I think that there are a lot of improvement in the care of these patients, and working together, I'm sure that we will find a cure soon for all our patients. When I knew that I was awarded of the AFF fellowship, I was like extremely happy. That was my first grant. I was just promoted, so I was very young in my career, and I was happy because finally I would have some funds to really do my favorite project, to determine if the stem cells can be used in the setting of treating Alport syndrome. So it was for me an incredible journey, and I think that grant really signed my career, because from that grant, not only I was able to publish my first, I would say, big paper at the time. At that time, also sparked a little bit of interest in the community at CHLA. And again, it was when there was this family that they came interested in my work, and so we were able to get some initial fund to create the GoFar lab, the lab that I am running right now. So actually, really started from that grant. Also, I have to say that I was able to collect a lot of preliminary data that allow me to be awarded from the first NIH grant. So for me, that was incredibly important and really sign the path of my research in my laboratory. In my laboratory, I have to say I'm not the only one. We are 12 people right now, and we have two younger PI, Dr. Dasako and Dr. Sidrakian, and also Dr. Dasako was one of the recipients of the Alport Foundation grant some past years. And our projects are mainly related to Alport. I would say that we have three major projects. One, which started with the Alport Foundation grant many years ago, is to study the stem cells or their secreted extracellular vesicle, and see if we can use this vesicle to slow down disease progression in our mice colonies. We have a lot of preliminary good data, and I think that working together with the community with more important experimenting, we might be able to one day to use this vesicle as a possible alternative treatment for Alport syndrome. Then we have a more tool project for Alport, and we call that, it's like we are generating agglomerulus on a chip. This glomerulus on a chip was generating using human progenitor podocytes derived from Alport patients suffering from that they have Alport. And here I really wanted to thanks all the families and the moms that constantly are participating to my research, because without their donation, I would not be able to do these glomerulus on a chip and to study how these cells behave in vitro. I think that the main project or the main aim of this glomerulus on a chip is to be used as a tool to discover new biomarkers of Alport syndrome. So if we have a different mutation, cells with different mutation from different patients, we can really test how, for example, different drugs react to the different mutation, or also we can identify specific molecular signaling that can be targeted to restore podocyte function. Because podocyte, and especially in Alport, is extremely important because it's the cells that is mutated and is the cells are responsible for generating the disease. So having a tool in vitro that allows us to study this mechanism is actually very important. Then we have a third project where we I'm developing together with a colleague of mine a specific dietary intervention for chronic kidney disease, but I'm using Alport as a model. What we eat is very important to maintain kidney health. So we are designing this diet, and we have a very interesting preliminary data, and it seems that changing the regimen and what you eat can preserve kidney function and really kidney structure in our animal models. And we also have done a small clinical trial in 16 patients, not with Alport, but with chronic kidney disease, and the results are pretty good. So I'm very optimistic that this can be an additional tool to prevent and maintain kidney function in kidney patients. Then we have some little side project which I'm very passionate too, and that it's on human kidney development. By training, I am a development biologist, so we're studying how human kidney develops, because it's really important to understand how this organ develops, because we can learn about the mechanism and signaling that can help for regeneration. So knowing what is happening during development is really important because they will help to understand the regeneration. And also we study kidney development because we are also studying a small population of rare disease of renal cancer in children that have a Wilms tumor. So, and Wilms tumor is considered a sort of not completed or not functioning kidney development. And so we're trying to understand why in these kids, the kidney doesn't develop completely, but it forms a mass. And so hopefully we can find a new treatment also for this specific particular population of children that we have at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Yes, I think that the project that we are focusing on Alport, they are for sure useful for other kidney disease. For example, Dr. Dasako is using the chip, the glomerulus on a chip, to study members of nephropathy, which is another important kidney disease in the adult population. Dr. Sedrakian is using the extracellular vesicle for diabetic nephropathy. So, we are really expanding what we have learned using Alport as a model to other kidney disease and using the same technology and the same tip. For sure, the diet, we have already demonstrated that the diet was working in diabetic patients, and together with my colleagues, we also show that it can be used in cancer patients, and there are clinical trials already going on this aspect. So I think that when I think about Alport, I don't only think about the community and the amazing community and the experiment, but it's really an incredible model scientifically where I can learn a lot of things that I can apply to other kidney disease where the culprit of the disease is the glomerulus. So for us, it's extremely important to keep continuing studying Alport syndrome.